Welcome to the Daily for Wednesday, April 6th. Obviously, everybody very excited about Real Salt Lake.
How can you not be? Come on!
Advancing to the final of the CONCACAF Champions League, where they will take on a Mexican side, either Monterrey or Cruz Azul.
Oh, let's be honest. Last night, everyone in MLS Nation was an RSL fan. Even Landon Donovan from the LA Galaxy was tweeting out how he cannot believe he's cheering for Real Salt Lake, but they got the job done. It was an amazing performance. It was 0-0 at halftime. Everything looked great, and then they gave up a 46th-minute goal to Saprissa. But Real Salt Lake held their nerve. That was what was amazing about this. Once that goal went in, we've seen MLS teams capitulate, and they get into that frenzy, and all the wheels come off. Instead, this time, Real Salt Lake held their nerve. They got a goal from Jamison Olave. They end up losing the game 2-1, a 3-2 aggregate series win. Brilliant. They're into the final of the Champions League.
Very exciting for Real Salt Lake and really all MLS fans all together. Well, no MLS team has advanced to the final of CONCACAF Champions League in its history. Obviously, the Galaxy and DC United have won it back when it was the Champions Cup. It was a completely different tournament. Yeah. This one, a much, much bigger test for MLS teams, for all the teams involved. We're very excited, obviously, to see Real Salt Lake go to the final. Another exciting game for us tonight, though, Greg, in Vancouver at Empire Field. So far, 2 games at Empire Field have seen 12 goals scored. So it could be exciting when the New England Revolution come to town today.
Well, the fans have been terrific out in Vancouver for all of their games. And this one, Eric Hasley, the designated player who scored 2 goals in the opener for Vancouver, he's back. Of course, they also have Camilo, who scored those incredible stoppage time goals in the draw against Sporting over the weekend. New England coming in, though, undefeated. 1 win, 2 draws. I think they were disappointed with the draw at home to Portland, so I think they're feeling like they need to get something going. It's a long trip across the country on short rest, though, for the Revolution. I think Vancouver probably has this one.
Well, moving on, Greg, to U.S. Open Cup games tonight. These are win or go home. Kansas City traveling to Houston in the first game tonight.
Yeah, and the Dynamo, I think, felt really good about getting that draw at New York. And it was Cam Weaver who got the goal. Now, Brian Ching, he's out for the next couple of weeks. He's got a rib injury. The x-rays came back yesterday. He obviously will not play. Sporting Kansas City, on the other hand, they've got Teal Bunbury back, and he's in form, so I think he's the guy. We'll see who ends up playing in this one, though, because they did play over the weekend, so you could see coaches maybe thinking about getting some players some rest.
That game is at College Station. There's another game in D.C. They're hosting Philadelphia Union. That'll be at the Maryland Soccerplex.
Yeah, and the news out of D.C. United is that Bill Hamid, the goalkeeper, 20-year-old homegrown keeper who has been injured over the offseason, has been recovering from surgery. It looks like he might get a shot again in the first team for D.C. United.
Other news out of D.C., Greg, Andy Najar yesterday committing to Honduras. I'm not sure at this point that it was really a surprise.
No, we heard some rumors a couple of weeks ago that he had already made up his mind. He even sort of tweeted it out that he was going to be playing for Los Cotrachos. But yesterday he makes it official in a press conference, and he says he will play for Honduras. That makes him eligible for Honduras this summer in the Gold Cup. He could also play with them in the U20 World Cup, assuming that Honduras get by in their quarterfinal game down at the CONCACAF Championships.
Speaking of the CONCACAF U20 Championships, the United States in action tonight in Guatemala City against Guatemala. A tough game for them, but if they win, they're into the World Cup.
Yeah, and unfortunately yesterday Canada fell to Mexico, so they're out. They will not be going to the World Cup.
Speaking of Mexico, tonight at 8 p.m. you can find out who Real Salt Lake is going to take on in the final of the CONCACAF Champions League. Monterrey taking on Cruz Azul.
Yeah, right now Monterrey with a 2-1 aggregate lead at home in Monterrey. Now they go to Cruz Azul, and we all remember that Real Salt Lake Cruz Azul series and that 5-4 game in the monsoon down in Mexico City. I think most of us here would love to see a rematch of that and feel that RSL, now in form, playing well, feeling confident, could actually take Cruz Azul in this one.
All right, that game 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Fox Soccer if you want to check it out. That's all we have for the Daily today. RSL Nation over here.
Look at this. We have even David Beckham's a fan of them now.
Everybody's a fan of Real Salt Lake. We'll be back on the Daily tomorrow.